Hello, dear friends. I wanted to tell y'all about something I did that the Lord corrected me on. Just to give a little example. Um, you know how I was talking about we read the scriptures, but how do we go and do them? Well, when circumstances come up, we have an opportunity to apply those scriptures. So, a couple of things that I did that the Lord corrected me on and brought back to my mind a couple of scriptures was last night I was in the dining room doing some drawing and stuff with my daughter, and my husband came into the kitchen and he was getting them some cereal for a snack. We were talking and everything, and I walked by and I noticed he had a large bowl full of cereal. And without thinking, I just said, "That's an awful lot of cereal there." And I said, I can't remember what he said, but I said, "You were doing so good on your portions and everything. I just hate to see you go backwards on it." And his countenance he went like this, kind of hung his head, walked out of the kitchen with his bowl of cereal. And let me give you a little backdrop on that. My husband lost a lot of weight. It was affecting his health to have all this extra weight on him. And he, of course, is legally blind, so he really can't do a lot of physical exercise safely. But he has a stationary bike that he would ride an hour and a half, and he did really good on that for a long time. And, for the past few months, he's got away from that. And, you know, as far as the eating larger portions and stuff like that. But the thing about it was when he dropped his head and walked off like that, I could tell he was highly offended, you know? And that's what I noticed about the situation, was his reaction. And immediately the first thought that came to my mind was, he's so offended. He's so overreacting. He's probably mad at me now or whatever. And then all of a sudden, another thought came to me. And that thought was, well, the way you said that, you probably did hurt his feelings. And when you fix you a snack and stuff, don't you sometimes indulge and have more than a normal portion? And he doesn't say anything to you about that. So I had two thoughts going on there. And I'm very thankful the Lord helped me to go his way and think about the thought that was the right thought to think about, which was to not notice what he did wrong in this situation, but rather what I did. Noticing the big log in my own eye before I point out the little splinter in his eye. That was a real life example of that scripture. You that judge others, don't you do the same things? That came to me, There I was pointing out how he was having 2 and 3 times of a normal portion for a snack when I do the very same thing. Now, somebody might say, well, that's kind of a ridiculously small example there. But that's just exactly what I'm talking about, of how the Lord is in the small details. If we will listen, if we will ask Him to help us to recognize Him, notice Him, and all the little details of our life. So I went to my husband and said, honey, I truly was. I said, because I felt convicted, Here you are calling him out for the very same thing you do. Maybe that embarrassed him. Maybe that hurt his feelings. And so rather than focusing on what I feel like he did wrong in the situation was just to become overly dramatic and offended and walk off and not speak, the Lord helped me to focus on what I did wrong in that situation. Excuse me, and I felt bad about it. So I just went in there to him in his little office there, hugged him and said, "Honey, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I said that. It was wrong of me. I want you to have a snack, enjoy it, whatever. I'm sorry I pointed that out. I do the same thing. You never say nothing to me or make me feel bad, and I'm really sorry if I hurt your feelings." Of course, he was gracious and forgave me for it, but this is a little example of what I'm talking about how the Lord will get our attention and correct us on things. The natural human response and ways of a man are to look at what somebody else did wrong in a situation rather than what we did. And it takes the Lord changing our heart and mind, giving us that new heart, and teaching us how to judge ourselves rightly. The other example I wanted to give was, and I hope anybody would hear me, understand what I'm trying to say here, but you very, very well may know about the president's briefings here in the United States, and about the other day when he made a comment about somehow putting disinfectant into the body to get rid of the coronavirus. He had heard of a study that had been done, and he was thinking out loud toward his doctors there on stage. And of course, so many news media outlets and people just honed in on that and attacked and really went over the top about he was saying drink bleach. He was saying do this, that, and the other. All of which we know not to do. But when that happened, my son had pulled in, and I said, "Jake, I want you to listen to this. This is the president that your daddy loves so much." And I played that little clip of the president's misspeaking or saying something that might not have been the best to say. And afterward, the Lord brought it to my attention. You ought not have done that. You're pointing out the worst in others. You are pointing out somebody's mistakes and their mess up. How would you feel if somebody pointed out and kind of ridiculed the things that you've done wrong in your life, or said wrong, or acted in ignorance, or whatever the case may be? And I just ask the Lord to forgive me. And the scripture says he will be faithful to forgive us if we ask him to. But there and again, it was kind of a thing where rather than focusing on what somebody else did wrong, the Lord brought it back to me. Examine your own heart, Misty. Test your own ways. The Bible tells us if we judge ourselves rightly, we'll have no need to judge anybody else. So I just wanted to share that. Not that I'm proud of it or anything like that. I just wanted to be open and honest about things that happen all the time. Little things like that the Lord will get our attention on. And he will help us and guide us and give us the right thoughts, his perspective, his thoughts on how to go the right way in a situation. Even if it means we have to really suck it up, swallow our pride, go and apologize and see what we did wrong in a situation, rather than magnifying and focusing on what somebody else did wrong. That's just something I wanted to share of how going about my daily life little things like that, how the Lord gets my attention and shows me how I could have done better and everything. And anytime he gets our attention on something where we might not have went the right way or do the right thing, we just, as soon as we realize it, we acknowledge that to him. Ask him to forgive us, change this about us so that we be more like him going forward. That we would treat others the way we want to be treated. I wouldn't have appreciated if my husband had called me out for eating too many snacks or eating too much chocolate or ice cream. That would have been embarrassing. It could hurt somebody's feelings. And I wouldn't appreciate somebody taking something I had said that I didn't have a good understanding on and promoted that, mocked that, you know? And so therefore I don't want to do that to somebody because I wouldn't want it done to me. Loving others as ourselves, treating others the way we want to be treated. The golden rule, the greatest commandment, right? So, yeah, I just thought I'd share that. I don't know if it would speak to anybody, but I ask the Lord to let it speak to somebody. That going forward in the days ahead, that we would be sensitive to that other thought, those other thoughts, the ones the Lord is pouring into us. That we not go our own selfish, defending ourselves kind of way, but yield to the Spirit in situations. Go back and apologize. Confess to the Lord. And really see He's helping us to see things from His perspective in these ways. He is. So that's just a couple of little things, how I kind of messed up yesterday, but so thankful to the Lord for showing me the error and helping me to go the right way. Thankful for His faithfulness to forgive me when I ask, and He'll do it for you. Y'all, there's just so much in the little details. So much that we sometimes fail to recognize how the Lord's working with us and teaching us and training us through these little occurrences that happen in our everyday life. It's amazing. He really is present. He really is here to teach us and train us and love us right through it all. We must only yield and confess. Humble ourselves. Learn the lesson. He's so good. So I hope that might help somebody to think about. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.